Welcome to another edition of the Hangout Cafe. I'm your host, Joseph Nja, and today I'm coming to you live from the Multimedia University of Kenya, where I have a couple of friends. And let me say, just a friend and we're going to be discussing about the effects of COVID-19 on mental health, and at the same time, its effect with regard to young people and business. So, without any further more to do, let me introduce you to my guest. Hi, how are you?
I'm fine.
So, kindly introduce yourself to my viewers.
Yeah, my name is Martin, a student at Multimedia University.
So Martin, if I could start with, what course do you do at the Multimedia University?
I'm doing a degree in journalism.
Well, you can say Martin is equally a classmate of mine. We're both taking a degree in journalism. But Martin, to the topic at hand, with regard to COVID-19 and mental health, maybe I would like to pick your brain and maybe perhaps get to see your views with regard to maybe the effect of mental health to young students, especially students in universities.
Well, I don't really know where to start, but there is a relationship between the effects of COVID-19 and what it has done to our mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Because, before COVID-19, we were all in school socializing, and it was easy sharing issues
Mm-hmm.
around with friends, with
Mm-hmm.
lecturers.
Mm-hmm.
But since COVID-19, we are seeing less of our friends and having less in-person interaction with others, which has taken a toll on us. All you have is you and the house and the social media, which has not been so friendly.
Mm-hmm.
So you can imagine you don't have someone to really talk to.
Mm-hmm.
There are things you can't talk to our parents about.
Yeah.
So there are things you want to talk to your friends, you want to see them,
Mm-hmm.
you want to interact, do co-curricular activities, which has been basically off completely. So
True.
it's been damaging to our mental health. And another unfortunate thing is that I think many people are underestimating uh, the effects or how far it has gone.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it's there,
Mm-hmm.
it's real, and it's happening.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I believe we have seen cases in the public of, let's say, young people deciding to commit suicide, cases of anxiety and depression going on the high. And at the same time, by virtue of us undertaking online classes, and by virtue of us being detached from our friends, from the communities that we've had, we even began experiencing stigma, right? Now, when you decide to open this can of worms, maybe to pick your brain on this, what do you think would be the most appropriate response that a young person can take who is experiencing, let's say, the negative impacts of mental health?
Uh, I think there are people, the organizations and groups which
Mm-hmm.
have come up to tackle this. I can't mention names since I'm not sure of the names, but I'm sure there are groups.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a matter of finding those groups
Okay.
or liaising with the schools at least to have people do counseling to some students who need counseling,
Mm-hmm.
because COVID may be here for quite some time, and you can't just wait until maybe schools will resume and you have your normal life as you have had
Okay.
during before COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So the only remedy is these groups being maybe
Mm-hmm.
put out there in public, so that people can know which groups.
Okay.
If I'm having depression, who can I talk to?
All right.
Well, how do I find them?
Okay.
If those groups come out on a large scale,
Mm-hmm.
I think it will be helpful to most of people experiencing this.
Well, Marty, let's switch gears a little bit, right? And go to the effects of young people in business with regard to COVID-19, right? So the very fact that now we are working from home, right, and most people are on the digital platform. So, what impact or effects do you think the COVID-19 has had with regard to entrepreneurship, especially with young people?
Well, good question, and I think there are two ways on this question.
Mm-hmm.
There's some success stories and there are some failing stories.
True.
Now, a very practical example, like in our university,
Mm-hmm.
there are some of us who had invested in the businesses
Okay.
around the university,
Mm-hmm.
which largely depended on students. Then COVID comes.
And the students are off.
So that's investment gone down the drain.
Mm-hmm.
And then, well, that's now the negative side of it.
Okay.
But then there's a positive side, because most of us have realized the other ways of making money
Mm-hmm.
through online.
Mm-hmm.
And there are many ways which I won't go into, but if you research well, there are many of us, many of my friends who have found something to do online,
Mm.
and it's getting them some money. So it's a matter of learning to adjust and change with times.
And change with the times.
Yeah.
Well, Martin, maybe now, lastly, what would be your parting shot, or maybe your word of advice, or maybe a reflection point with regard to what you've discussed today, the COVID-19, its impact on students, and also its impact in young people in business?
Well, what I would say is that if you are suffering, don't keep quiet. Find someone to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
And if your business has failed because of COVID, I think as an entrepreneur, it's all about risk, and sometimes you have, sometimes you don't. So you find something else to do. Especially, we should explore
Mm-hmm.
this online world.
All right.
It's large, and I think there are opportunities there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
Oh, thank you so much for being with us today.
Welcome.
Yeah, and maybe just to conclude, COVID-19 has been a menace, quote unquote, but it has been very difficult and challenging for most young people with regard to their mental health. It has impacted their mental health negatively, and there are various ways in which you can find, in order to, let's say, cultivate a positive mental health, whether it is through exercise, whether it's through talking to somebody, which is very important. But just know you're not alone. It is important that you find somebody you trust to share some of your innermost feelings with, and also keep yourself busy, through physical activities, for example, just to ensure that you're distracted long enough not to concentrate so much on the negative sides of life. But equally, as Martin has said with regard to business, I mean, as an entrepreneur, there is always risk. And with risk, sometimes comes rewards and sometimes that doesn't. But it is important for us to try as much as we possibly can to take the opportunity, each step at a time, and ensure that whatever we do it with our entire self, our entire heart, effort, so that we can make whatever we would want to achieve a success. It cannot be easy. It cannot happen in a single day. It cannot happen even in a single week. But if you take it a day at a time and invest your time, effort, money, and whichever other aspect that you possibly can afford to invest, take your time, and maybe perhaps you may be able to reap the fruits of your labor. I'm Joseph Njao. This has been the Hangout Cafe. Thank you for watching.